More welcome surprises in the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship. At round 10, a new face emerged in Moto 1, 19-year-old Mike Alessi. Moto 2 was a battle to the finish, but it was Grant Langston, another new winner in the class, who took the overall win. Tim Ferry suffered from bad starts once again and lost valuable points, finishing in 5th. The new points leader, Grant Langston. The new round 11, Freestone, Texas, Speed. The Toyota AMA Motocross Championship has a brand new stop. Round 11 comes from Wortham, Texas. The Monster Tecco Motocross National happens at Freestone County Raceway. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside multi-time national champion Jeff Emig. Aaron Bates is here with us as well, and Jeff, we got a new facility.
A new track, first time back in Texas since San Antonio in 1988. This track is purpose-built just for the National. This is the first time that any bikes have been on this racing surface.
And everybody excited about the new stop here in the Lone Star State. But let's go back to Pennsylvania a week ago. Take a look at the highlights from Steel City. Grant Langston and Kevin Windham getting together in this battle in Moto number 1.
And it was all about Grant Langston on this day. He is our championship points leader. Had a couple of mishaps, but big effort, huge charge, took the position.
Got around Windham. Mike Alessi went on to win his first ever moto, taking the Moto 1 win. Moto 2, Tim Ferry crashes in the first turn.
And that's so relevant, Ralph. I hate to keep talking about Ferry's bad starts, but he has been fast enough to win, but he keeps setting himself back at the start of each and every moto. Langston
and Windham went at it again. And Langston goes on to win the moto at his first AMA Motocross overall. So take a looking at the points now coming into this round. It's still real tight between Langston, Short, and Ferry. Even Mike Alessi still sniffing around it in 4th.
Yeah, only 10 points separating the first 4. That's a pretty incredible championship battle.
But the guy in front of everybody is Grant Langston, and he's looking to claim the championship this year. He's standing with Aaron Bates at a Progressive Direct Pre-Race Report.
Celebrating his very first victory in the MX class aboard his factory Yamaha. The number 8 is now your current points leader, and I'm talking about none other than Grant Langston. Grant, we have 4 motos left to go. How do you approach these ones? Do you approach them any differently? And how have you arisen to the occasion to be a little bit more motivated at this point?
Well, I mean, there's a championship on the line, so the motivation is pretty easy to get for that. You know, I don't think I treat these last 4 races any, no sort of major difference. You know, we prepare the same, we train the same. You know, just go out there, and obviously, you know, it seems like when the pressure's on, it helps me to focus, and when I focus, I tend to make fewer mistakes. So, you know, I'm going to go out there, try not to make any mistakes, get some good starts, and I think that, you know, when you're up front from the get-go, the race will kind of unfold, and you know, it's like a poker game. You just play your cards right and make sure you're there at the end and try and get as many points as we can, because obviously with the points being so tight, every point really matters now.
Boy, they sure do, with just 4 motos left. In fact, moto number 1 here in Texas is in the books. Let's go now and show you the highlights from moto number 1 as we got a racing underway here in the Lone Star State. Watch the gate drops, and the 29 of Andrew Short pulls a tremendous hole shot, headed into the very tricky turn number 1.
The turn number 1 is tricky because it's a right-hand turn. It's hard to get your foot out and have your right foot on the rear brake. But Andrew Short is totally on fire. He came into this moto just with that shot of winning the championship. He was going for it.
Well, he opened up a huge lead. Look at this.
Best moto of the year for Andrew Short, no doubt about it.
Without question, Mike Alessi running in 2nd place. And behind him, the points leader, Grant Langston. Josh Hill made his debut in the motocross class, but a lot of goggle problems for him. Tim Ferry battled back from a so-so start, getting around Ivan Tedesco in a battle for 4th. Then Alessi and Langston went at it as their fight for 2nd continued, going through the tricky whoop section here, the sandy section.
See, Langston almost had that pass, and Alessi just slammed the door on him, so Langston tries another line on the outside, and this time makes it stick.
But nobody could get anywhere near Andrew Short. These guys putting on a great battle, but Andrew Short just rode away with it.
And I tell you, this is the first moto this year that we've seen Andrew Short just really let it all hang out and just completely dominate the competition.
There you see Grant Langston and Mike Alessi behind him. Andrew Short would go on for his first ever moto win in the motocross class. And guess what? We got a new points leader after Moto 1 here in Texas by a single point over Grant Langston.
And I tell you, there's more than one rider that feels that they can win this championship, and it's great for all of us, the fans.
There's a look at our Toyota Trucks results page from Moto number 1. Tim Ferry could come back to 4th, Ivan Tedesco 5th, and we saw Michael Byrne in 6th. Here's Aaron.
Well, it's taken up to this point of the season for him to take his very first moto win of the season. Andrew, at this point, you are now the championship title leader. What on earth did you put in your Wheaties this morning?
Nothing. It's just a mental game for me, and being out front like that, you know, like you said, that's new for me in this class, and with the pressure at the championship, that was a tough moto mentally, so nothing special, no Wheaties, but my Honda's running great. Fly Racing, the rest of my sponsors have been awesome, and I'm looking forward to a good second moto.
Getting ready for the next moto, Moto 2, coming up here in Texas.
It all.
Speed's coverage of the 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Championship from Freestone is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of performance-driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. And by Progressive. Before the gremlins get you, get Progressive, #1 in motorcycle insurance. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Is the passion for two wheels in your blood? Well, now you can get all the breaking news, in-depth analysis, and more with the Motorcycle Racing Report. Only at speedtv.com. Keyword green, presented by Kawasaki. That's a look at downtown Dallas. That's the closest big city to the Freestone County Raceway, about 90 minutes away. We're here for the Monster Energy Techco Motocross National. Ryan Clark making his way into his starting slot. Number 32 will carry the onboard for us. There's Andrew Short, Moto 1 winner.
Has to be feeling good. That was a great moto for him, and really, you got to believe that he's thinking, hey, I can win this thing, and I'm going to go out and let it all hang out. I'm going to risk it all, and I'm going to do this.
Grant Langston started the day the points leader. Mike Alessi getting very strong recent weeks. Here's Aaron Bates.
You're taking a look at the number 902 of Cody Cooper standing behind me, getting ready for his second moto, only his second event ever here in the United States of America, all the way from New Zealand. Actually, he is living with Ben Townley and Ricky Carmichael in Florida trying to train, but the reason why he's over here is he's going to be racing for Team New Zealand for Motocross of Nations, and in doing so, the reason of being here so early is he's trying to get himself acclimated to the weather, because it's dead winter over in New Zealand right now. He said, to be honest, I have no expectations, but I'm going to go out there and give it everything I've got for 30 minutes plus 2 solid laps.
And no expectations, but I got a 7th in the first moto against the fastest motocross riders in the world, so I think he's shown us he's definitely going to have something at the Motocross of Nations.
Here's the format, 40 riders in the gate, 2 motos who already did moto number 1, 30 minutes plus 2 laps, as Aaron said, for each moto. Top 20 riders scoring points. Getting ready to drop the gate on moto number 2. Here's the Suzuki starting group. Boy, Tim Ferry really needs to put together a good moto here.
He needs to put together a good start. I hate to keep talking about it, but it is the key at this point. And we heard from Grant Langston. He said, hey, getting a good start, letting the race unfold, and just playing those cards is what is key.
Jeff, when you got a right-hand turn like that at the end of the front straightaway here, any keys as to where you want to start from?
I'd want to be on the inside. I always want to be on the inside. So.
Not a very good start for Ryan Clark. Pretty good one for Andrew Short, and that could spell bad news for everybody behind him.
And I'm telling you right now, the intensity of this moto, this is the premier class in motocross racing. There is 4 riders that have a legitimate chance of winning the championship. This moto here is key to set it up for that final race of the series, and Andrew Short once again is taking advantage of that.
Boy, he bogged down right there in the middle of that corner, and that really allowed Alessi to creep back in.
Just kind of got high-sided. We see another rider down.
Oh, Tedesco. It's Ivan Tedesco who's down. Oh, he was 5th in Moto number 1, and it looked like it was Augie Lieber out of Florida on the 779 who was there with him as well.
And just so definitive of Tedesco's season. He just can't seem to catch a break. Wow.
If Andrew Short could come on ahead and win Moto number 2 here, Jeff, and take the overall and shake the points up headed to Glen Helen, boy, that's really going to make things interesting at the season finale.
Oh, yeah, so exciting. And, I mean, he is in position right now. He's all of a sudden, he's the guy here. He wants to take that momentum away from Langston and Alessi. And Mike Alessi, though, is not giving it up. He's 4th in points, but each and every week he seems to be right in the middle of it, you know?
It's a crazy line down that straightaway by Grant Langston. There he is. He was just getting around the 273 of Gavin Graysick, who's been riding very well in recent weeks. And there's Tim Ferry also trying to get around Gavin.
You see Kevin Windham working one of these outside lines here, trying to get around Mike Alessi early in the second moto. And this is that sand section. This is actually man-made. And when they make them that way, it's just they just are deeper and rougher than ever. Brought in a lot of sand, really worked on this racing surface here at Freestone, trying to make it the opening round here, one of the premier events on the schedule.
Battle for second with Alessi and Windham. Oh, bit of a bobble there by Mike.
Well, it's easy to do. Second moto at an AMA motocross event. The track is just so treacherous. They've already had light spikes for 2 motos. They've had 1 moto of motocross, and it really gets difficult. This track gets so rough.
Progressive direct hole shot replay. It's all about the 29 once again.
As you take a look, he came all the way over. He started about 6 gates out and moved all the way to the right and just slammed the door. You see the tough blocks starting to lift up. You see Tedesco back there, Ferry, Langston just shut the door on them, allowed him to take the lead.
Well, he said Moto 1 was mentally tough for him, even though he had a huge lead. Not quite as big of a lead right now here at Moto 2. I wonder how tough it is on him mentally this time.
Well, it sure looked easy there in the highlights, but like he said, inside trying to keep his focus, to keep his head, and not to make any mistakes, but yet keep pushing forward and trying to battle the clock and ride for those fast lap times each and every time. It takes a toll on you, but I'll tell you, even more of a toll will be having other riders behind you, like in this moto, that are that close to you. I would much rather be racing myself than the other riders.
Langston sitting back and forth. He's got to be wondering what's going on this weekend. I mean, he was looking so strong after Steel City. Now all of a sudden he finds himself losing the points lead and not running for the win.
But it's still early here in the second moto, and like Wood Langston talked about, playing this game of poker, if you will, and just not pushing it, just letting it. If he has the cards, he goes for it. If he doesn't, he holds or folds early. But right now, all of our championship contenders are right here inside the top 5.
Including Mike Alessi running in second. He was 4th in the championship coming into the day. But if he can finish second here in Moto number 2, another good points day for him. Get him even tighter headed to Glen Helen. Give him a good shot as well.
Langston really putting together good overall finishes, consistent. Has won a couple motos, but I'm telling you, at this point, I want to be out there doing whatever I can to win the moto, and I'm going to let it all hang out.
And of course, the big thing they're battling for as well is momentum headed to Glen Helen. And boy, if Andrew Short can win both motos here in Texas, that's a big chunk of momentum.
Oh, it would be a big boost, no doubt.
It's a big chunk of debris on our camera lens, too. We'll be right back to Texas. We're back to the Monster Energy Tech Cup Motocross National here on Speed, the AMA Toyota Motocross Series. Working its way towards the end of the 2007 championship season. There's Kevin Windham, currently running 3rd of the Sobe No Fear Samsung Honda. Behind him, the factory Yamaha Grant Langston. That new 450, been a very good bike on that new Yamaha.
So far, Langston has been raving about how great that bike is. Windham, of course, just steady as she goes. He has been really good lately, solid. Also, the Honda guys really been putting on a push here late in this championship series, and having Andrew Short kind of emerge from being in the shadows of this injury. We didn't even hear about him early in the Supercross championship, earlier in the calendar year, but now as this motocross championship has gone along, all of a sudden here he is in contention for the championship.
Has allowed Andrew Short that little bit of a breakaway again.
Mike Alessi rolling up the sleeves figuratively and literally in this championship.
So Andrew Short trying to pull away. Kevin Windham
and Tim Ferry. Well, he's the one guy that's struggled here at the tail end of this run. He looked like about 3/4 of the way through the championship when James Stewart had his issues, and maybe Ferry would be able to pick up the banner and carry Kawasaki to the title.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Oh, we see Langston.
What a big burst of speed.
From the outside. What a line Langston had. Just carried some momentum and just drove it hard into the inside. That turn to take the position from Windham.
Langston, you can't leave him out as well.
But track position, starts, we talk about this so much, and right now Ferry, it's so definitive with this moto that he's running as fast and as strong as all of the other riders. But he started behind all the other riders, so now he's sitting behind that group. And if he had started in front of those riders, he'd probably be there at this point still.
Of course, the man who won the Supercross championship, James Stewart, had the points lead in the Toyota Motocross championship. Got hurt. Washougal, Washington, a few rounds back. Is out for the rest of the year, getting himself healthy again.
Well, James actually got hurt a couple of races before that, and was incredible how he battled through that pain. Yeah. Remember, Colorado had just rode with tremendous neck and back pain and still ended up winning the overall. But the knee injury at Washougal has put James Stewart out for the season. Having knee surgery, we won't see him at any other races this year.
We'll see him in Anaheim 1, which you'll see here on Speed as the Supercross season gets underway in 2008. Mike Alessi on that 800. We'll see him on the 450 in the Supercross Championship next year. That's going to be exciting because he's done a tremendous job on the 450 here in the motocross season. He seems much more at home on the bigger bike.
He definitely is, and Mike is such a skilled rider. He's incredible talent and has been so close to so many championships, and it was just a few years ago these two riders were battling it out for the Lights Championship in motocross. Now once again here we are in 2007 and they're doing the exact same thing. A lot of determination, a lot of heart with both these riders.
Langston carrying a lot of speed around the outside. Oh, comes off the pegs. Can he keep it going forward, side by side, into the next corner? And it looks like Langston will take over second.
Really rode the long line there, the wide line, and just carried more momentum, more speed. Alessi was on the pegs, standing up, trying to maneuver the bike through them deep ruts, and Langston just edged him out.
Well, we're going to take a short break here in Texas. Tim Ferry reeling in Kevin Windham for the battle for fourth.
Won't last.
The Monster Energy Tecco Motocross National. The first time the series is raced in Texas in close to 20 years. Round 11, the 12-round Toyota AMA Motocross National Championship.
I tell you what, the premier class in motocross competition is not disappointing. Look at them. You see Tim Ferry trying to get past Kevin Windham on the outside. Is he going to have enough?
Clawing his way into this championship fight is Ferry on the Monster Energy Kawasaki, and the factory rider has himself up to fourth.
But I was going to say, Ralph, these riders are not disappointing. All of our top 5 championship contenders, all in the top 5 here, the second moto. They all know how important this moto is for the setup for the final round at Glen Helen. Tim Ferry put in a big effort.
Well, Kevin Windham could be a big spoiler too at Glen Helen. He's the kind of guy, he's not in the championship fight points-wise, but he's such a good rider. If he puts together a good run at Glen Helen, he could steal some major points away from one of these riders.
Yeah, that's why it's so important just to get that whole shot, get out front, not let anybody else affect your race. Just take control of your own destiny like Andrew Short is doing here today in Texas.
go back and take a look at that pass. Watch Tim Ferry on the green Kawasaki number 15.
See, he's still on the gas as Windham was on the brakes. That's because he's taking this wide line, trying to stay out of those deep ruts. Once again, hammers the throttle, finds a smooth line. Windham takes that outside, trying to set up for that left, and Ferry just drives down the inside. Nice, clean pass.
Very well done by two exceptional veteran riders. Two different ways of approaching it. Meanwhile, out front, Andrew Short.
Having the day of days right here. I'm telling you, this is maybe the best that I've ever seen Andrew Short ride. And what is so impressive is that mentally, he's gone from being this underdog that was just happy to be racing again, coming off the injury. And now all of a sudden, he's saying, you know what? I can win this race. I can win this championship. And he's going out and executing that right now.
And such a likable guy, too, Andrew Short.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And he actually has a ranch down here in Texas where he trains and practices, and it's only a couple hours away, so maybe a little bit of that home turf, home field advantage, if you will.
The Honda aerial cam giving us this view. Jeff, as you take a look from high above over this racetrack, what do you think of this new facility here? Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I think they've done a great job, and maybe I may have to show up a little bit early next year.
Oh, down goes Short! Andrew Short, the one thing he couldn't afford to do was crash, and he did, and lost the lead to Grant Langston. There goes Alessi. He's struggling to get that Honda going again. Now he is, and he's in third, just in front of Ferry. What an incredible turn of events for the leader.
Oh, just how we're talking about how Andrew Short was so focused today and just on his game. Little lapse in concentration, makes a slight mistake. Big consequence, though.
Was it maybe one of those big, deep ruts in the corner, just knocking him off the bike for a second that did it?
Yeah, it appears, well, I mean, yes, the rut, but why did that happen? And that's just a, small mistake here. And now, all of a sudden, the heart rate's going to elevate.
Yeah.
And Langston had just seen, Short just seen Langston and Alessi go by. This feeling of nervousness, like, oh, I just blew it, I had this overall one. So we'll see how Andrew Short can recover from that mistake.
And we'll see if he can do it when we come back to Texas.
Speed, it's huge.
Speed's coverage of the 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Championship from Freestone is brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, personal watercraft, and scooters. Do you live and breathe motorcycle racing? Now you can get the latest race results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 773333 on your mobile phone to receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. Speed Green Alerts presented by Kawasaki. Well, one of the biggest Jeffs in the sport, next to our own Jeff Emig, the great Jeff Stanton.
I got another great John Michelle Bale story. We had our test track in Simi Valley, California, and the whole time I'm busting out laps. John Michelle, it just rained and this hillside was perfect. It was just beautiful and green. And the whole time I'm busting out my laps, John Michelle Bale's over there on the side of that hill. And he carved his initials, J, M, B. Kind of held the brake and just spun his tire and carved his initials, J and B, in that hillside. After I look back, it's kind of funny. I was like going, dang, what am I doing wrong here? And he's out having fun, doing something different, so. If Dave Arnold wouldn't have came to me at the end of '88 and says, I have a factory Honda ride, we need to put somebody in this position, we want you to come to American Honda, work under Rick Johnson, ride together, learn. If I wouldn't have had that opportunity, I don't believe any of this would have happened.
The accomplishments of Jeff Stanton are well documented. 3 AMA Supercross championships, 3 AMA Motocross championships, USGP wins, Motocross of Nations wins, and he did it all before he was 25 years old. In 1994, at only 26, Stanton retired. He never looked back.
I left the last race and I told my wife, I said, that's it, I'll never come back and do another. Nothing to prove. For 4 years in a row, I raced over 50 races a year. I was doing more races than there are weekends. It burned me out. That's the bottom line. You know, I just got tired of riding a motorcycle and I got tired of training. Just straight up, that's the way it was.
Stanton was always known as the hardest working rider of his time. Today, as a consultant for American Honda, he isn't afraid to put it into black and white and call out those who can against those who can't.
And when I was on the starting line, I knew there wasn't nobody going to beat me. You think when Ricky lines up, he thinks anybody's going to beat him? Heck no. You know, everybody, the other 39 guys, they're scared out of their drawers. I remember when I was at Yamaha, 87, 89, there was a guy in upper management there. He told me, he said, Jeff, 99.9% of these guys will never make it. It's all in their head. He said, if you can overcome that, you'll make it. And I'll never forget that guy as long as I live, because he's right. 99% of the racers out there will never make it because they can't make it past the mental part. They can't make it past the pain and pushing extra hard or doing what it takes to get to that next level.
Jeff and his wife Sarah have raised their family in Sherwood, Michigan, just down the road from where Jeff grew up. In addition to his work with Honda, Jeff has dabbled in real estate and coaches his kids' basketball and baseball teams. His wife works in the medical field and is currently pursuing her master's degree.
I've had a great career, and now it's about my kids and my wife and enjoying what I got out of racing, and I enjoy putting some back into the sport as well.
You know, Jeff, I've met a lot of racers in a wide variety of motorsports around the world, and Jeff Stanton is by far one of the most tenacious I've ever come across.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And when he was racing, he was just stone cold, just so focused. And he got a lot of flack for that. But if you know Jeff Stanton, since he's retired, oh yeah, he's a great guy to be around, always smiling and having a good time. And definitely his coaching is so important and so intricate to Team Honda, so glad to still have him around.
One of the best to ever swing a leg over a motocross bike, that is for sure. Big change here in our battle at Freestone. The man on the 29, Andrew Short, had the lead, lost it, fell all the way back to third. If he's not careful, Jeff, he's going to fourth because Tim Ferry is coming after him.
Oh yeah, Tim Ferry's been charging hard all day. Knows how important each and every position is towards this championship, and if he wants to be in it going to this final round, he's going to have to pick off Andrew Short because he sets in front of him in the championship points.
Picking their way through. Now we saw Ferry really dissect a beautiful pass on Windham. We'll see if he can set up Andrew Short the same way. Short, a little trouble getting through that corner.
These riders each taking a different line. Short came into the turn on the outside, squared it up and cut back across. Ferry just using nice momentum, just arcing the outside of that turn. So you can see just how difficult the track is here at Freestone late in the second moto. Ferry trying to very inside, just found a little groove. Short using the middle.
Somebody took him off the lead.
It's always different too when one guy's kind of slipping back and the other guy's charging forward to see which one can either regain his momentum and the other one keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, it is just a battle of wills at this point in the moto, and especially this point of the championship. It's just how bad do you want it? And it was great to hear Andrew Short talk about how mentally exhausting it was, and he was out there leading the moto, and so it is so hard to keep it all together, and you have to train your mind and train your body to go through this excruciating pain and to endure all that these motos throw at you. Right now for Andrew Short, he's being tested like maybe he's never been tested before.
A perfect example of what Jeff Stanton was just talking about. 99% of them won't make it because they can't do that.
Yeah.
Grant Langston at 220.
Here comes Ferry, closing in through that so treacherous sandy whoop section.
4.3 second lead.
Trying to keep themselves alive in the title chase. The battle between Tim Ferry and Andrew Short for third.
Here's that line that Ferry used on Windham.
And it works again. Tim Ferry gets to the inside of Andrew Short. Moves up one spot closer.
Short needs to take a deep breath right now. Just take a deep breath and regroup. This moto has not gone the way that he planned since he fell down. He's dropped back yet another position.
Boy, that sounds like such a simple thing to do, but it's got to be so tough to put that all behind you.
And I can imagine for Andrew Short right now that everything's starting, you see him reach up, and maybe that's taking that time he needs as we see Ferry on the replay here. He's going to use that same line for Windham. You see totally different sides of the track. And look how wide Ferry goes here, but the line is smooth. And on the inside, there's a lot of bumps and a lot of ruts. And he just hammers the throttle on that 450 cow. He takes yet another valuable position.
Boy, he was able to drive out of that corner so much harder. Carried so much more speed. Meanwhile, it's the Yamaha out front. Grant Langston from our Honda aerial cam, leading here at Freestone. Just what he needs to do to get himself back on top of the points as we work our way to the season finale in California. We're coming back to Texas. The AMA Toyota Motocross Championship has 2 rounds of racing left to go, 2 motos after today. Mike Alessi sitting in second here in Texas, chasing Grant Langston. Both those riders in the championship, as is Tim Ferry, the man who sits in third, and even Andrew Short, the guy who sits in fourth.
And I tell you what, we're looking at Mike Alessi here on the KTM, number 800. Here's Grant Langston, our leader. Langston just had that little bit of edge, but Alessi all season has been right there. He's had some real standout motos, but it just is so definitive with the points is that he's just come up a little bit short each time.
Got his first moto win in the motocross class just the last round at Steel City, as did Grant Langston getting his first overall. Jeff, we're seeing a lot of guys cutting past those yellow stakes.
Those yellow stakes actually mark the track. The sponsorship banners are just that. That's not the mark for the track, but those things, they're just stuck into the ground. They can move out of the way, and these riders are going to take advantage of each inch that they can on the track to find a smoother, better, faster line.
But a lot of folks maybe watching motocross for the first time would think, well, shouldn't that be a penalty?
Yeah, I don't write or enforce the rule book, Ralph. I'm just calling the race.
Okay, enough said. We'll let the AMA officials deal with that.
There you go.
Tim Ferry, yellow stakes or not, he's working his way up towards the front, and he's trying to reel in Mike Alessi now. Boy, if Tim Ferry could just get a good start.
I know, we keep talking about it, but man, it's he has just been riding great. His starts haven't been there, and you know, at this point of the season, you have to get up front and get that track position that we're talking about. But right here, Ferry once again putting in another strong moto, working his way from the back to the front.
As you've watched Tim starts, do you see any one particular thing he's doing wrong?
No, at this point, I didn't get a chance to watch it that close here in the later stages, but you know, just has not been getting to the first turn first, and Grant Langston has had consistently good starts. So has Mike Alessi, who, you know, historically is a great starter, and right now that's what's making the difference in this championship.
Putting yourself in position to capitalize, be there at the end. This racetrack's held together pretty good, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been great. Really makes me long for those days of racing these events, and it's you know, especially when you're winning the moto and on a track like this, good traction, good soil composition. You seem to float like a butterfly when you're going through those bumps, and every turn you just seem to hit it perfect. And I tell you what, there's a lot of hard work that goes into training your mind and body to do that. It just doesn't happen overnight. And you know, all of these riders that are battling for the championship are working so hard week in and week out to get that momentum, to get that mojo working in their favor. Andrew Short had the mojo all day long, except midway through this second moto, he lost his mojo, man.
Yeah, and the train's kind of come off the track, hasn't it? He just does not He's just not flowing the way he was before.
And I tell you what, it's got to be tough here in this moto to realize that you gave up that lead and gave up those points, and to keep it all together, you still have to finish it up, and that's what Andrew Short's doing. He's still riding strong.
And maybe gave up the championship. He had the points lead after moto number 1, would have extended it after moto 2 if he'd won the overall. Now he's chasing Grant Langston. The Monster Energy Tech Motocross National underway here in Wortham, Texas at Freestone County Raceway. Josh Hill is a rider in blue and white, and he is reeling in Andrew Short.
And everybody's saying Josh Hill, wait, isn't he a lights rider? Didn't he ride factory Yamaha on the 250F? Oh, as he takes the position from Andrew Short. And what's odd right there, Ralph, is that that's the line that Andrew Short had taken, and Ferry went around the outside. Short mixes it up, and then Ferry goes by on the inside. So at this point in the moto, the train has came off the track for Andrew Short. He's still charging. All is not lost, but man, definitely hate to give up any points. And this rider, Josh Hill, is a spoiler. This is his first ride in the motocross class, the premier class. Like we had talked about, he had been riding the lights class all season.
And did not have a good moto 1.
No, definitely was 37th in the first moto.
Tim Ferry, meanwhile, gaining a lot of ground here in moto number 2, closing in on Mike Alessi. And if Alessi could get around Grant Langston, Alessi would be the overall winner here.
And I think Tim Ferry at this point realizes that second place, another 2 points is up for grab here. He's going to let it all hang out.
You have to. With just 2 motos left to go after today, Glen Helen will be the season finale out in San Bernardino, California. Speed will be there. We'll bring it all to you.
And Glen Helen is treacherous. There's a lot of things that can happen at that racetrack. So you need to have, like what Grant Langston's doing right now, he's securing a good points lead going into that final round.
Give yourself as much of a breathing room as you can.
If breathing room can be had in this championship here of late, that's something that has not gone hand in hand. But Langston, former champion, the lights division, former world champion, really knows how to get the job done, and that's what he's doing here today at Freestone.
Well, he won everything there was to win championship-wise in the lights class.
Yes, he was very strong on that Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Switched over to Yamaha here for the Premier class, and setting himself up well for the final race.
Working our way towards the finish here at Freestone County Raceway. Stay with us.
Is your life lacking a little excitement? Superbikes.
It's going to be a good time.
Closing laps here at round 11, Freestone County Raceway. The Monster Energy Tech-Co Motocross National. Grant Langston started the day points leader, lost it after Moto 1, and he's about to take a bit of a points lead going to Glen Helen in the final 2 motos of the year.
And that has got to be a good feeling. Right now he's so in the moment though, and just really focused on keeping the bike on 2 wheels, winning this overall, putting a little bonus money in his pocket. Big picture, yes, is the points.
We are on the final lap here. Taking a quick look over the shoulder, seeing if anybody's nearby. They're not. Just don't make a mistake.
And what a great end of the season here for Yamaha, who at the beginning of the season, they just couldn't seem to get the bike dialed in. And fortunately, they got the 2008 Yamaha 450 homologated, and that has made all the difference to Grant Langston. He says that this bike is just really working awesome for him, and he is proving that to all of us here by taking control of this championship late in the season.
You know, the last time that Yamaha won a championship was in 1998 with Doug Henry. So if Grant Langston can hold on and pull this off, that would be huge.
And when's the last time that KTM won a motocross championship here in the Premier class?
That's deeper than my stats go.
That's deeper because they never have. That's why it's so important. And Mike Alessi and all of the Red Bull KTM crew have been working so hard because they're close. But Yamaha has the advantage right now.
Well, and they're throwing everything at it. They've brought folks over from Austria to help work on those KTMs, try to give Mike Alessi everything he possibly could need to get that win.
Well, and what's so interesting is that when we talk about the top 5 in points, Windham being a little bit off the pace now. On the Honda, you got Ferry on the Cowie. You know, everyone is represented there except for Suzuki.
Huh. What if Ricky would have just run a couple more rounds?
What would have happened? Well, I'm quite sure that Carmichael would have dominated like he always had. There would be no indication that he wouldn't have. But that's what I think Grant Langston and all these riders, that they know it's so important, is that who's going to be the first one to take the reins when Ricky hands them off here?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's a lot of excitement building for Yamaha because Grant Langston on his way to a win here. Checkered flag, Grant Langston wins in Texas. And it's great to be that first winner here at Freestone County Raceway. And for Grant Langston, Jeff, I was going to say, a lot of momentum building here because when he did run some Supercross races at the beginning of the year, looked very good there too. It's going to carry a lot of momentum into that season as well. We'll be back to talk to the winner after this.
Do you ever have trouble getting yourself into gear? Now Speed has a...
Speed's coverage of the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship from Freestone is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of performance-driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Did you miss any AMA racing action? Want to relive the excitement? Watch all the 2007 AMA Supercross and Superbike events on Speed On Demand online, and it's all free, courtesy of Yamaha. So log on now to speedtv.com, keyword Yamaha, and get up to speed. All the riders on the track are AMA members. Are you? If not, call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. AMA, riding, rights, and racing. Well, a large crowd had turned out to enjoy the activity here at the Monster Energy Techco Motocross National, and Andrew Short can do nothing but sit there and wonder what could have been.
What could have been? He had a great day going until a small mistake allowed this rider, Grant Langston, to take back over the points lead heading into the final round.
Shaking hands with the competition. Here's our Toyota Trucks results for Moto number 2. Andrew slipped all the way back to 5th.
Cody Cooper, the New Zealander, in there. Josh Hill having a great moto in his debut on the 450.
Here's Aaron.
Andrew, a bit of a mishap in that second moto. Obviously frustration right now. What exactly went on?
Oh man, I got a great start again on my Honda and tipped over, and basically from there I just fell apart, literally when I fell. So I just got to be better than that if I want to be here in the end in the championship. I'm pretty bummed, but first moto was great, second moto was a bummer, but I'll take it.
Here's the overall results are from Toyota Trucks, and Langston with a 2-1 takes the overall. Mike Alessi finishes second. Andrew Short gets a third with a 1-5. Tim Ferry was hoping to do better than fourth. And we go back to Aaron.
Mike Alessi giving a hard charge out there this afternoon. Mike, so as you put everything out on the line, but it didn't look quite as comfortable as normal.
Yeah, just different track. Setup was a little different, you know. We tried to figure it out between motos. The second moto was quite a bit better for me. You know, I didn't get as tired. It's really hot here and it's humid, so you never really stop sweating. And I put my head down that moto and I saw Timmy coming, and I knew that was for third place or second place overall. So I knew how to dig deep and just do it. So I did it, you know, and I just want to thank all the guys, KTM Rebel team.
I like those trophies. Here's a look at the overall points now. Headed to Glen Helen. Langston out in front of Short. Ferry right there. And Mike Alessi hanging tough. Well, let's meet the guy who won it. Here's Langston.
2 in a row, Grant Langston cleaning it up. Grant, I don't know what it is that you've poured on the last couple of weeks, but right now headed into the last round, 8 points ahead of Andrew Short. What's your thoughts?
You know, obviously I wanted to try and win. You know, my goal is to win these last 3 rounds and not have to worry too much about points. And, you know, first moto he rode awesome. And I knew I was going to catch him, so I tried to just preserve a little energy because I knew it was hot and rough out there. And I started catching him, and I don't know what happened, but I came by and he was picking his bike up, so he must have gone down. And once I had the lead, I think I rode a little too defensive, you know, just trying to be cautious. But I was monitoring the gap, and it was all right. And I'm just really stoked for myself and Yamaha and everyone. We've definitely laid it all on the line, and hopefully it's going to pay off.
Well, Grant Langston won his first overall at the last round at Steel City. Now he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, he has been really good, and he is in control. 8 points. Little cushion, but he's still going to have to ride hard each and every race, especially when we get to San Bernardino.
Make sure you're with us for the season finale, September 15th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time from Glen Helen. It's going to be outstanding as we wrap up the year. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Texas. Congratulations once again to Grant Langston.